After hours of scouring the internet to find the answer to my question, I finally figured it out. What is the most dead genre in recent years of gaming? The answer is auto-scroller video games. That's right, I'm working on a new game and it is going to revolutionize the most dead genre in video game history. Alright, before going into what my game is and how it's going to revive the genre, let's make sure we all know what an autoscroller actually is. Well, I'm referring to those horizontal platformer games you may have played as a kid on sites like Miniclip and Addicting Games. For my younger audience, you may have never even played an autoscroller, which really shows how unused the genre really is. Now I realize there are still a few games in the genre, as Nintendo actually created an autoscroller Super Mario Bros. Game a few years back for mobile devices, but I mean, really? One popular game from an entire genre since the 80s? That's insane. So now that we are all on the same page as to what I'm going to be creating, I had to figure out how to actually revive the genre in the first place. Well, here's what I came up with. What if we took the most dead genre and combined it with two new and hip genres to spice things up? Introducing my untitled autoscroller roguelike card builder game. I'll be working on my first ever roguelike game with auto battler movement and deck builder elements. Think of if Dead Cells had a baby with Hearthstone, but the game was so intelligent it could play itself. Yeah, freaking wild. Alright, so we have the idea, now it's time for us to actually build out a concept for this game, which brings us to phase 2 of this devlog, designing our game's concept. In attempting to create a concept for my game, I first tried playing around with different color palettes to give a unique style for my roguelike. I ended up straying away from the monochromatic color schemes and theming the game around a dual color system, using a main color for the background and a contrasting secondary color for the foreground. Once I had my color theme chosen of blue for my background environment and red for my foreground tiles, I started by creating a basic character and building out the game concept in GameMaker. Yes, I will be using GameMaker again. I used it for Monster Tribe. I just think it's a great engine and it's really great to prototype things super easily. So yeah, that's the engine I'm using for this game. Sorry guys, maybe next time. Sorry, I don't know what to say. Alright, so this is my first draft of the game at its most simplistic version possible. We have a character running along a screen in a platformer perspective with collision detection and a cursor we will be able to use to interact with the environment and use cards down the line in development. So now that we have our game's initial vision, we can start with the concept sketch of what the game will look like when we build it out in the official first devlog coming out shortly after this one. Starting with the backgrounds, I painted on layers of clouds for a fun depth perception and a unique environment space. I think it turned out pretty cool. It's kind of like a dream world aesthetic, which I just ended up going with and thought that was really awesome. So then I made some red platforms for our character to fight on, which, speaking of, we should probably create an actual protagonist for our game to have. I decided to keep things very simple with a cutesy white humanoid character with a red feather on his head and a red scale on its back. In a weird way, the character kind of reminds me of a cross between Yoshi and the protagonist from Forager. Anyway, I think it's easy to recognize, and when we start implementing character classes in future devlogs, it will be crucial to have a very basic character design that can adapt different elements authentically. Well, after some final touches to the concept, this is the final reveal of the first official concept for my new indie game. I really like how the concept turned out, with a lot of depth coming from the layers of clouds in the background and in the foreground below the main ground layer, along with a very simple and unique style to lend itself well to a clean and polished game aesthetic. Also, this is a card builder game, so I slapped on a design concept for the cards, but we'll have to work on that in a future devlog after I turn this concept into an actual game over the next few episodes. I basically just wanted to create this devlog to let you guys know that I am very far away from completing my game dev journey. If anything, this journey has only just begun, and Monster Tribe was only the start to a long and healthy road of game development. If you haven't seen my last mini devlog, I basically explained that Monster Tribe has finally launched on Steam. So I just want to say thank you everyone for watching my videos, and I hope to see you in the next episode where we turn this concept into an actual playable prototype.